hear me right? Yeah, cool. Cool, okay, so today I'm going to talk about tools, like building tools, and why I think we need them. So here's actually I'm going to rely on the internet, so maybe sometimes it will be a little bit slow. So here is a good example of why I think it's a point that we just have to build some tools for this kind of stuff. Like this is one of the latest contributions to Three.js. It's what is called a deferred rendering, which is pretty much a different technique for shading your scene, like rendering it. What this brings us is that up until now, like with the normal WebGL render, we were able to have like about 4 lights in total in your scene, and as we can see here, we can have like way more than not just 4. Of course, there's actually no real limit, but the more you have, the lower it's going to go. So I think this shows in my opinion, this is like a really nice new toy for developers, but I think it's a bit of a shame that that's the way it is. Like there is no way for non-developers to play with all this new toy, and this is I think it's a little bit of a waste at this point to not have tools ready to play with all this stuff, and this is something I've been learning, or this is something I learned from being involved on the demo scene for the last 20 years or so. Actually, probably not going to ask it because I don't see anyone anyway. So for those of you that don't know what the demo scene is about, it's like a community of people, like a bunch of people that enjoy doing real-time generative graphics for any kind of platform. It can be Amiga, even people still do stuff for Amiga and C64 like nowadays to show what those platforms are actually able to do. There's also slowly some people are starting to jump into the web and doing also really crazy stuff on the web. Some of those people also enjoy trying to compress their code in 64Ks and 4Ks and things like that. I never really got too much into that myself, but I kind of understand some of it. And after all, this is it's pretty much just for fun. You compete with each other, and it's actually, I found in myself that it was a really fun way to learn computing and computers and this kind of stuff. So I got involved into the demo scene back in the mid 90s. This is more or less how it was, more or less at that time. This was the whole setup. It was pretty much a programmer. For a while, it was pretty much just one programmer, just creating the whole thing, the whole demo at the end, playing with drawing their own graphics and things like that. But then, more or less at the time that I was joining, there was kind of a new wave of trying to make those demos a little bit prettier, because if you're a programmer, you're not going to care about the colors. You're just going to put red, green, and blue. So this is more or less how it was when I was joining into all this. I will pair up with some programmers, and then we will speak, talk about ideas of which effects do we have? We have this cube here. So what about putting this cube here with this image here, and then we have this music like that, and that, and that, and then you kind of design or edit demo that way. But the thing is, the programmer was always on the middle. So it may happen that you will be okay, what about having a fade in this moment, in this second, and then the programmer tries, and they're oh, actually, it was better like it was before. Okay, let's put it back. Actually, put it back in. Okay, make up your mind. So it's obviously, it's just it's a human. So you need to, all humans have a limited patience. So you get to a point that the final quality of the demo itself is very, very limited in a way. So as an example, I don't know, you can read that a little bit. Well, this isn't Spanish, but pretty much this is what I was doing at that time. I will say I will send this to the programmer so he will know a little bit okay, we're gonna build this thing. So I was gonna say, for instance, the first scene is gonna last 45 seconds, and it's gonna have this background, dark background, and then it's gonna have a bunch of cubes spinning, and then we're gonna have this code with the credits saying who did the code and who did the design and all this. And then also in this case, I was also saying how the music was supposed to be. So this is, let's see if it loads. This is at least the beginning. you get the idea. So as you can see, the editing of the demo was like really simple. Like now it goes this, and now we switch it off. Like it was like a boom, 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 like a really simple. Like that's as much as you could do. Like no transitions or anything like that. Part of it is because this one was at 64 kilobytes intro, but still you can still do better stuff than not this kind of stuff. But you know, this was on 99, and it was actually by the time the design of this one was kind of nice. Like now it looks like extremely dated. So then forward to the 2000s. So starting from this, we still were following this setup, and then it got to a point like the programmer was like, okay, I want to still do demos, but what about like setting up like something like you don't rely on me, like I'm not on the middle for doing this kind of stuff. So he will set up like what is called like an engine that you will you will load it, or you will load a script that will say like, oh, at this point we have a fade in and fade out and things like that. So that way you can just build the whole demo without. If you want to try the different fade ins, you can just write it yourself. So the problem with this system is that if you are like a designer and you've never done any code, which is like I was back then, you struggle a little bit with this kind of system. Like all those commands that you need to learn, and if you miss like a D or whatever, then it's not going to run. So in instance, if I wanted to have like change the camera position or whatever, you would say like at the second 54, then do this and do that. And the thing, you will have this script, and then you will modify it, and then you will run the executable file, and then you will see if it works or not. Like it was actually cool that you could run the demo after jumping time. Like there was a time that you had to see the whole thing just to see that you changed something at the end of it. Okay, so probably you can see that the whole editing or the demo is a little bit more like smooth, like it really follows the music much better. Like you can do like, now we're gonna put this in and we're gonna put this out, but in a much nicer way, like you can control all those things. And the final result is much nicer, like, you know, compared to the first one. But then, I mean, with that, like you got to a time, like the programmer will be nice enough that will say like, okay, you're struggling like learning the script system, so what about building an editor so you don't have to like write those commands that I only know about. The good thing of this is that editor had also like the engine inside it, so whatever you were changing, you will see it in real time, what's like on the preview on the editor. So this is the last one that they did. This guy did. At the bottom you can see the timeline, and all those blocks have like used effects, and whenever you click on them, you have all those properties on the left that are things like you can modify. Like, you know, it's a little bit sad because all this is for Windows and I cannot run it anymore. So you will have to trust this image, but then you will modify this value, and then the whole thing will affect directly into it. Which by the time, I don't know if it's After Effects or Premiere still are like that, but I remember that back then, After Effects was like, Premiere, if you modify something, if you add like a new transition or like a new effect, you will have to render the whole thing just to see how it looks. And here everything was like, the iteration speed was like really, really fast. And having this editor allowed us to in the same time that we were building one demo before, like in the same time we were able to to build like five of them, and in a much pleasant way. Then we have time to see an example of this other one. Cool. So shortly after this one, I was still not happy with the setup, and then I decided that maybe I should start programming and see what I was able to do. If what kind of things I will be able to do if I knew how to code those things. So probably I think that was in 2005 or something like that, 2006. Then I started to learn ActionScript and then JavaScript and stuff like that. Then it got to a point, whoops, I'm going to see it here. Well, that was Three Dreams of Black Rum. It's a music video that we did for Google for promoting WebGL and showing what you can do with it. The problem with that is that we were back again to the same original workflow. Like the director and all the artists were saying, oh, we want to have this guy running here, and we're going to have like those animals running this other way. And then in the middle, we were the programmers trying to make this app and try to make everything work. But if the director wanted to try something, it will be the same thing. Let's put this and let's put that, or what about trying this? So I was wondering, at the time that we were doing that one, I was really tempted on trying to do an editor for it, but we just didn't have enough time. Like we actually had to build the engine for it. So I think right now, if I have a little bit more time for that, and what it is on Three.js, at least for me, it could be like a good engine. Like if I want to try to build this, I can use perfectly Three.js for that. In fact, during this year, we have been working on this tool, so you can play with the API without having to mess with the code, but you can, you can still see the API from here. Like you can see the scene, and you can see all the lights that are there, and play with it. And whenever, like, this is really useful for like if a designer or a graphics guy has a model and wants to make sure that it looks like he wants, like he can just drop it in this tool and then put all the materials that he needs to do, and then just export it and give it to the programmer. It's just a step that it just increases the iteration and the speed of development. Then this month I started with what it is. You still need the editor for if you want to do an animation. You can, like this editor that I just showed you is really good for setting up a scene and like kind of the camera and that kind of stuff. But you still need like a tool that you will do the animations and put like, now we're going to see this effect, and now we're going to see this scene. So this is actually pretty much the last. Let's see if it loads. The last 2 weeks, I start to have something which kind of reminds what I used to have. Like this is all like this is just all in JavaScript, and you can see all those are not videos or anything like that. Those are like viewing render in real time by the browser. Those are actually, I didn't have time to create new effects for these just yet, but I'm using effects that you can find on DLSL Sandbox website. So this is more or less, actually I built this one quickly last night just to have something to showcase what I have so far on the tool. Actually, you press escape, you go full screen. So this was actually really fast to build. Like it took probably 2 hours. I don't know if I can move it here. It was, at this point, I had to do the whole timeline hard code in the code. Like right now you cannot, like the idea is that you can just right click on here and then you can create a new effect like for whatever, and then if you, there will be like a set of effects, usual effects, like you can load the 3D scene and move the camera, things like that. But if you need like another developer to do a new one, you know, the base for it is there, and then you only need to contact a programmer that will do a new bit. And again, like in the other tool, you will click on each block, and then you will see all the properties. So the idea is that in instance for this ball scene, like you will have like whatever, like the size of the balls or the colors, and then you will modify it from there, and then you will see them real time there. But so far, like right now, you can like only move those blocks, and you can still see like, you know, how it works in real time, and it's really. You know, I think this is what I used to have, and I thought it was amazing. So I just wanted to build it again, and then see, in this case, make it open source and see how people is going to use it. So far, it's still not open source in a way. Like it's on GitHub, but it's on a private repository at this point, because I still need to wrap my head on how to make the structure and everything. But hopefully in about like 2 weeks or so, I'll make it public so everyone can play with it and extend it or do whatever, you know, in the same Three.js way. Like, I don't know how people are going to use it, but we'll see. Hopefully it's useful for more people than me. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.